Hey, what's up, y'all? I'm Ofosu Jones-Corte.
And I'm Leah Santa Cruz.
And we are the meditation coaches on the Balance app.
And this is our weekly show, Well Balanced, where we explore ways to live a healthier and happier life. And speaking of a healthier, happier life, I go to a yoga class every Sunday, my friend Byron's yoga class. And I went on January 1st, and there was very few people in class as it was New Year's Day.
Sure.
And he made this comment in the class. He goes, "Take a look around. You guys are the diehard people." He goes, "Wait till next week. It's going to be packed in here." And he said, every year it's the same. New Year's Day, not so many people, but 1 week later, the floodgates open. And, so many people have these goals like, I'm going to start doing yoga, or all the gyms are packed right now. And it's this time of year where a lot of people put pressure on themselves to improve themselves for better or worse, mostly for the better, of course.
Yeah, for sure.
So I was thinking about the difference between the folks showing up on January 1st and the folks showing up the week after, and what brought me in there January 1st.
Yeah.
So it started to get me thinking, how can one build the discipline to change, but also not be negative and hard on ourselves or turn it into something that builds shame? How can we have discipline and still have self-compassion?
Yeah.
Can we be disciplined while also being nice to ourselves?
It's funny. I'm in a series through Plum Village, and it's a 14-month training. And one of the pieces, or the cornerstones of it, is to just maintain your regular meditation practice. And there are some people in the cohort who might be new to meditation, and so one of the nuns who's facilitating was just talking about, like, there's a whole bunch of different ways that you can be innovative with bringing meditation into your daily life, but there is a factor of discipline that needs to be there, if you're going to bring yourself to your practice every day. And her tone got a little bit more serious. She was very smiley faced when she was talking about, you can slip in your meditation time between meals, or you can slip it in here. But the point, and then she got a little bit more serious, but the point is that you do it. The point is that you apply discipline to your practice. And I think many of us have maybe let me just speak for myself. I have a complicated relationship with the word discipline. For me, when I hear the word discipline, I think of yelling. I think of punishment. I think of corporal punishment, being hit or spanked or something like that. The word discipline for me involves tears and pain and all those unpleasant connotations.
I take it that you were spanked as a kid?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I'm of that generation where...
Same.
Yeah. So card-carrying member of the getting beat generation. So, you know what I mean? So, like, when I hear discipline, it doesn't land as like a form of kindness, but it really is, and it really can be if we reframe it. And I think when you look at social media, you find like these kind of two camps, right? And they're almost extremes. You have people like David Goggins, who he has this phrase called that he says, embrace the suck. And I do find that motivational. So yeah, but I'm not going to impersonate David Goggins. Let's just listen to this clip.
So I got an email the other day. This guy's talking about he's struggling to get up. Wants to go to the gym and start grinding early in the morning. I said, when I was 24, I had the same condition, man. I had the same problem. So I started studying it. The more I studied it, I came with this crazy conclusion. I was just being a bitch. When I say bitch, it's not gender specific. It's a mindset. In Gogglish, it means weak, soft, feeling sorry for yourself. Get your ass up and lace them up. Stay hard.
For those who don't know, David Goggins, he's an ultramarathon runner and a triathlete and a former Navy SEAL, hardcore.
Very hardcore.
And he's got most motivational videos. He's got, over 5 million followers on Instagram. A lot of people are into that, like, just can't be a bitch. I gotta just suck it up. And I get that. You know, my husband is a little bit more in that camp.
Mm-hmm.
He likes to really push himself hard and he needs that kind of motivation. Like the other day, I gave him a compliment. I'm like, "You're looking good, babe." And he was like, "You got to raise your standards." Because he was like, "I'm not looking good. I haven't been to the gym all week." And I was like, "Don't you think you're being a little hard on yourself?" He's like, "No, that's how I motivate myself." He's like, "I got to, tell myself this is not good enough. This is not good enough." And I'm like, okay. So it's almost the opposite of your mantra, Ofosu. You are enough.
You are
He's
enough.
like, "No, not good enough."
Not
but
good
that's
enough.
like a motivator for him. I think it's interesting because now the time to think about it, I don't know if there's any correlation here. He was not spanked as a child. I wonder if there's a difference in
Maybe.
And folks who grew up with that kind of corporal punishment and the way we think about discipline, and we're kind of like, "Oh no, the pendulum swung over here." Like,
yep.
I don't think there's any research studies on that. That would be interesting to notice. But I do think there's different personality types, regardless of like what motivates us. And it's fascinating to me that so many people are motivated by that David Goggins style of like, just look at the militaries of the world.
Yeah, for sure.
They're not out there being like, "It's okay, you can do it." They're like, "You maggots, stand in line, like 100 more push-ups." It's this intense, almost like putting you down and breaking you down to build you up. It's like this. I think people get this motivation from deep inside to go, "I can push through it." Like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really what motivates me, though.
Yeah.
I like the positive encouragement as motivation.
Yeah.
Someone being like a bit negative or intense on me, I would sort of push me away. If someone's like, "You haven't been practicing enough. I see you're not doing so well." Like, that would really frustrate me. And I think a lot of women I know feel the same that I've spoken to. They're like, they want that more positive, uplifting encouragement. And maybe that's why we flock to like, certain styles of exercise or styles of motivation. But I think for you too, Ofosu, you've talked a lot about self-compassion.
Yeah, for sure. I think beyond the umbrella of gender, your point that different personality types might just respond to different approaches, and there's no one right way or wrong way. So over the pandemic, I discovered the work of Dr. Kristen Neff. Self-compassion has been around for a long time, but Dr. Neff has really brought it to the forefront and backed the practice of self-compassion with a lot of scientific research. And I tend to fall into her camp that it is the practice of self-compassion that gives us the space to create long-term change. So I think that somebody like screaming at you to get your ass up off the couch and get to work, that might work for a few months. But to make like a long life change, self-compassion is just more sustainable than harsh motivation. But that's just me. Okay, so I just thought that we could play a clip of Kristen Neff real quick, just to hear her approach. And it's in a whole nother neighborhood than what we just listened to with David Goggins. But
let's hear it.
When we accept ourselves fully and we embrace who we are, flaws and all, then it actually does allow us to see ourselves clearly, because it's safe to see ourselves clearly. And because we care about ourselves and don't want to suffer, we're going to try as much as possible to make changes that are, make us healthier and happier. But we also know that if we don't succeed, it's still okay.
It's such an interesting thing to look at, because when we are pushing ourselves through compassion, self-compassion to do better, to improve our lives so that we're not suffering and so that we can be healthier or happier, I think it comes from this more intrinsic motivation for like, I'm doing this for me as a caring, like almost being a parent to myself. And there's also that allowance for the humanness to come in, for there to be bumps in the road and not to be perfect and success all the time. But then when we are motivated through some more of that like intense or negative, I feel like it's a little extrinsic. It's like, oh, I don't want to be a bitch, so I'm running away from that identification label that could be put on me or that I could be putting on myself. So it's a little like more deflective. It's a different type of energy there. And
Yeah.
or it's trying to deter from something versus move towards something. I don't know. It's just it's a different motivation. And like you
Yeah.
said, whether it's short term available to us or long term available to us, I think for me personally, the self compassion is more long term. But I also think it's true that like it can go to the point where we're like, well, I'm just going to be in acceptance of where I'm at, and I don't need to change or make any positive changes for myself because this is perfectly fine the way I am. And it's a slippery slope with that, you know?
Yeah.
I do feel like being complacent's not okay, but it's more about like we really want to do see the positive change. And in order to do that, we have to just really make a change. Like we can't just talk about it. We have to just really just do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, Master Yoda, do or do not. There is no try.
Yeah.
Okay, so like I'm thinking about myself and sustainability, right? So I have been practicing Muay Thai through my trainer and friend, Mike Logan, it's going on 2 years now. And we meet up once a week and then to drill new combos and learn new techniques and, just put me through the paces. And then it's up to me to continue my practice throughout the week. Now, because of travel or because of one thing or another, I might miss a week of connecting with him, but I rarely will miss a week of training at all. Like yesterday, I did some shadow boxing. So take today, for instance. Today, I was like, okay, I did everything I had to do in the morning, and I was putting my David Goggins cap on to just continue to power through and just like take my ass to the gym. But then when I really asked my body, like, what do you need right now? My body was like, I need a nap. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a nap because I will 1000% feel better and be able to go to the gym or work out later if I take a nap now. And so I just offered that kindness to myself. And so
Yeah.
the day has gone on. It's like on my end here in the world, it's nighttime. It's by the time we're done recording today, it'll be after 9 p.m. And I'm still going to go hit that heavy bag because I want to. And because I've given myself the rest.
You listen to your needs.
Yeah. And the thing is, I gave myself the space. If I couldn't bring myself to do it today, that's fine. I'll do it tomorrow. And so as long as I'm consistently showing up for the thing that is meaningful to me, it doesn't have to be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it comes down to like, why am I doing what I want to do? Like, okay, I could use the David Goggins approach if I was getting ready for a fight.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like if I was training for a short-term goal, if I'm training for a marathon, if I'm training to win a chess competition or if I'm training to do a cooking show, anything, if I'm training to become the champion, and I guess you could say in his eyes, you're training to become the champion of life. But to me, that doesn't resonate. You know what I'm saying? If I'm training to meet a specific goal, then I can understand putting the burners on and just like going super duper hard. But if I'm training to have a lifelong relationship with my body, with wellness, with my state of mind, etc., to me, there has to be some more patience, more kindness in the approach. Yeah.
I
That's
think
just
what
my
you said,
thought.
the consistency is really key. And I noticed for myself personally that whenever there's shame involved, things go south.
Yeah.
I gained about 65 pounds during my pregnancy, and it's pretty normal. Some women gain more, some women gain less. And I compared myself a bit to other women who had similar aged babies or children, not consciously at first, but I was noticing, oh man, that woman's like back to her pre-pregnancy shape or fitness, faster than I am. And why is this taking me longer? Or I would get into this comparison and I would feel negative about myself, but it was, I guess there was a little bit of motivation, like, oh, maybe I can do it because she can do it.
Yeah.
But there was also this twinge of shame and feeling bad. Like I'm not good enough, or I'm not, something's wrong with me, And there was not that compassion that there needed to be for it to be sustainable. And so I noticed that it was affecting me mentally. Like first it was really subtle and it was just a bit of frustration, but then it started to feel like sadness. And then,
Yeah.
just kind of seeped into the mood. There was a mood there that I didn't want to be feeling, and it affects other people. And it
Yeah.
made it hard for me to feel good in my own skin and less motivated to dress nice or just show up as my like most confident self. So once I started to catch myself in that, oh, this is the pattern that I'm doing,
Right.
I can now change my goals to like, I just want to be strong. Like, I don't necessarily need to be what I was before. I'm moving forward, not backwards. And I want to be strong and I want to be healthy. And that
Yeah.
might look different for me now than it did before. And not to compare myself to other women, because recognizing like we're all on our own. We all have some completely different circumstances,
Yeah.
bodies, everything's different for every person. So we can't ever compare ourselves. And that's helped me a lot.
I totally agree. This was a year before the pandemic. So what was that, 2019 or something like that? I was about to go do this show in Mexico, and in my mind, I was really unhappy with my body. And I was just like, when I was going to the gym, I was like fighting my body, basically. Like every weight that I lifted, every exercise I did was like raging against like the image that I had in my mind of what my body was, and just trying to like carve this new version of myself. And so there was that like really hardcore pushing of just like even when I was tired, even when I should have been recovering, I was just continuing to go. And then I injured myself. I tore my right pec, and then I was out of the game completely for a really long time. But I recognized that I was practicing a kind of self-hatred towards my body in how I was working out, and it led to injury. And so, I love working out. I love just how I feel when I'm moving around, when I'm picking up heavy stuff and putting them down, or when I'm kicking bags and stuff. I just love how I feel. And so honestly, when I brought myself back into my practice, I needed to connect more, not with like, how am I going to look? I mean, I care about that too, but more like, how am I going to feel, and like, why is this important for me? It's like, I want to be healthy. I want to be around for my kids. And I want to be strong. Like you said, I want to be strong. I want to be strong for myself. I want to be strong for my family.
Every time I do like a push up or something, I think about throwing my son in the air. I'm like, oh, I'm going to be able to throw him in the air so much better now, because I'm doing this exercise. So like, it's giving me other motivations to do it besides like, oh, these arms are fat. I need, it's more like, I'm going to think of all the things I'm going to be able to do more easily now with my family that bring joy. And so joy is like the new motivator for me, which also links to my word of the year. Whoop, whoop. So I like that intrinsic motivation. Like, what do I want to feel? And let that be our guiding light to motivate. And then also, so key before what you said, the discipline, not necessarily as punishment or something negative, but as commitment and consistency in knowing that like, hey, some days you're going to push a lot. Some days you don't have to push as much. You can just check in with your needs. But like, as long as you're consistent, it all levels out in the end.
Yeah.
You don't burn out.
Discipline is one of those things that's an expression of love. It is showing up and saying, this is how I'm loving myself. This is how I'm connecting with what's important to me. This is how I'm showing up for the highest ideals I have for myself. I didn't feel like meditating today, but I was so happy I did afterwards. I mean, you'll never be mad at yourself for bringing yourself to do the thing that is meaningful to you. But if you just don't have it one day, that's fine too. As long as you have the spaciousness to know that you can do it tomorrow. I mean, you do have to keep an eye on it, because it's like Shakespeare, tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. It can turn into that. I honestly can see, like, if I've been too relaxed, then getting that David Goggins mentality to just light a fire under me to like reignite, the engine. I think that's great. So I feel like there can be a skillful use of critical motivation to like jumpstart your battery, but to really keep the car metaphor going, to really keep the engine running. I think it needs to be fueled with self-compassion.
Very true. Hopefully you've gotten some inspiration or motivation out of this conversation. I know it's been nice for me.
Yeah.
And for you listening, if you're not watching this podcast yet, please go check us out on YouTube. Our channel is called Balance, and we've got a link to today's episode in the show notes. Or if you're on Spotify, you'll see our video when you're playing the episode in the app.
And hey, if you like our show, please tell your family and friends all about us. You could text them, email them. You can fax them even this episode. And yeah, it's the main way that people discover new podcasts.
And we'll be back next week. Until then, have an awesome week, a motivational week, and a beautiful week.
Yes. Get off your ass and be kind to yourself. Take care. Bye.